How's it, guys? I'm really excited today. I got my first printer from a supplier, Print or Die in Gauteng. Sean from Print or Die sent me this printer. You must go check out Sean's website. He's got an amazing array of products at a really good price. He supplied me with a MKS Gen L board with four TMC 2208 drivers at a price of just under $1,000. So you got to go check out his site. 1,000 Rand, that is, by the way. You got to go check out his site. It's an amazing bunch of products, and I am so excited. This is a new printer he has brought in from overseas, and he's honored me with the first person to test it for him and to do a review and an unboxing. So today I'm going to unbox this. It is a Two Trees Bluer high precision printer. I don't know what the high precision means. I'm really excited about this. It's got a touch screen. It's got intelligent leveling. Now I'm not sure exactly what that means. We can check it out. So I think it's got to do with the Marlin or something like that, where you actually you level the bed using the traditional paper method, but you then do it on your printer to adjust it up and down, which creates a mesh inside the printer, because I don't think this has got an auto bed leveler, as you would say. It is a 235 by 235 by 280 millimeter printer, which is a decent size. It's got a decent bed size. It's got a full-on touch screen. It's got double turbo fans for the hot end, for the cooler. It's got what do you call it? The tensioner, belt tensioner built into it, a nice all metal belt tensioner. So I'm really excited about seeing what this printer can do. So without any further ado, let's get and unbox this thing. Let's open this thing up. I have been so excited. It arrived this morning. Sean told me about a week ago that it was coming, and I have been chomping at the bit to open up a brand new printer that I haven't seen before, and not that much online because it is a very new printer. As far as I know, it was released in August or September this year, and I am very excited. I shouldn't be waving this knife around. My son is looking from behind the camera and a big smile on his face as I'm waving this knife around dangerously. So I shall put it down, but I am excited. Let's open this thing up. So without any further ado, let's see what we've got here. Nice. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. So, as we open the box, we get a cute little spool. This is a demo gray. It's a PLA by the look of it. Yep. A PLA gray, 0.2 kilograms. Little cool spool of test filament. That's very nice. Alright, so we take that off. Then we get a Bluer manual. This is obviously the assembly manual. Read me first. Hazards and warning, electric short, burn, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we all know about that stuff. Okay, so quick run through it. Yep, looks good. Put that to one side. And here we've got our heated bed. Right, okay, so this is a stick-on by the look of it. Thing, and then your heated bed, your aluminium heated bed. So let's put that to one side, and let's put that to one side. What is this now? The glass. Nice. Okay, so why has it got, okay, well, we'll have a look at that now and see what that's all about. Right, so that piece can go out. Right, on the last side here, this is obviously one of our Gantry accesses. We've got a toolkit here with your PTFE tube. I suggest you replace this with Capricorn tube immediately. You can get that from Sean's website, but I suggest you replace it with Capricorn. Sean, it might not be bad idea to supply Capricorn tubing with this. Idea. Right, you got some spanners. A little bit better heavy duty spanners than you usually get with these 3D printers, because I find they bend easy. If you have to put a little bit of torque on, it bends. Right, and then you've got a USB stick and your torque wrenches. Awesome. Okay. Some more PLA. Another little wind of PLA and PLA lime green by the look of it. Alright, what's next? Okay. Let's get this out. So gently remove this. This is the whole base. And then careful, on the side are the I don't know what those are. We'll check now. Right, so that's our side base. So that's the base, right? And we've got some wires coming out. We've got a full-on cover at the bottom here. Very neat. It looks very, very neat indeed. Okay, so yeah. Ha. You know, I've seen online that people are moaning about how this is... Oh, they've learned! This was very rickety in some of the other reviews. They put concentric nuts on. I'll show from above. You can see there are concentric nuts to tighten it up. Awesome to see that. I'm really happy to see that, because that means that they have been listening to the reviewers that have done pre-reviews on this machine. Then we've got the hot end. Yeah, as I suspected, it does not have a sensor built into it. It's got 2 fans on the side, and then your heater assembly fan to keep the heat creep riser cool. And then again, concentric nuts. Awesome to see. I'm really pleased. Well done, Two Trees, for doing that, for listening to what the guys are saying about concentric nuts. You have to have that, otherwise you're going to get wobble. There's nothing you can do unless it is perfectly engineered. Nothing will be perfectly engineered like that. Your power cable. These 2 pieces, which I don't know what they are for yet. We shall get to that. An assortment of screws. Okay, this is for your bed leveling, for your plate leveling. I think this might be a spare belt. Nice that they added that. It's very good that they included that. Your belt tensioners. This is the one for your x-axis, if I'm not wrong. And what else have we got here? Right. So we gently take that out. Whoops. This is one of your... this is definitely a... your Z-axis and a decent lead screw. Just put that there. I'm definitely running out of space on my desk. And then this is the other side. Right, and then this is the spool holder. Let me grab a spool quickly. Oh yeah, that's better. Because what I saw before as well is this was not fitting nicely. So they've obviously made this a little bit bigger, but it's going to be very restricted to this size roll, nothing bigger. Okay, which is good to see that they've been listening again. Really excited, yeah guys. Okay, that's a stepper motor probably for your Z-axis. And this holds your Z-axis in place. I've heard it's very sturdy, so I'm excited to see that. We've got our extruder. It's an all-metal extruder. Single gear, not dual gear, but it is a single, but at least it's an all-metal extruder. And you've got your run-out sensor, which is probably just a standard limit switch. And you've got your motor driver for your other belt. So I don't think that belt was spare. I think that's actually the Z-axis belt. Right, is there anything else left inside here? No more things to unbox and no more things to unpack. There we have it. We have everything laid out on the bench, all the parts that we need. So let's now move everything here, create some space and get assembling. Let's see how long this takes. I wonder if I should grab my cell phone and do a time of this. Don't worry, this is not going to be a half an hour long video. We will edit it down and speed some things up. Tell me if you want to see unboxings like this live. Be interesting to do, because then I'm not hiding anything from you guys. Right, so there's the stopwatch running. So let that run. I'll bring that back in. I'm going to move everything out and we'll come back shortly. Right, let's start putting this thing together, shall we? So let's start our stopwatch. We've got everything here. All right. So the first thing we want to do, right, so if you look here, we've got 2 holes. That will mount at the base here with this holding on somehow, like that, with your 2 holes lining up there. Right, so that's the bottom. That's the one side, and they're pretty linear. They're pretty much the same thing because they set up on both. Right, that's okay. So let's just get that there. This one here is that goes across the top. Right, so we're starting to understand how this thing puts together. We're going to go for the M5 by 20, M5 by 20. So, okay, after a bit of searching around, there is no M5 by 20 screws as stipulated in the manual here, M5 by 20. So I'm assuming it's the M5 by 25s that I'm going to be using. So that's either mislabeled or the wrong size that is in the book. So after a lot of searching, I looked through the manual. I didn't see any M5 by 25 being used. So I'm assuming that's for the top here. So a little bit of a mistake in the manual, step 1. Oh, mistake again. This was put in upside down. So the instructions are not very clear about, even if they show the picture with what orientation things go. So the instructions are not that great. So I'm going to take this apart and let's try again. So I'm not going too great. That's why live would probably be better, because you can see the trials and tribulations that I'm going through in order to get this thing to be put together. So, oops, like dropping things. Don't over tighten as you're putting things on, because you need to get everything aligned first. So just put it sort of finger tight slightly. Okay, right, so that's our Z gantry up. Next thing is it needs to add this here. Again, concentric nut. 2 trees, well done for listening to this point, because that was mentioned in a few videos that I've seen. Right, so let's put that upside down. Nice. There we go. So if I flip this over now, everything will be aligned. And nope. Again, I've missed the instructions, and this has gone in the wrong way around. So the instructions are not very clear about how things go in, but you can figure them out. They're not that difficult to figure out. So that's down there. Right, next step. The next step is to put these on. So we just need to see the front of the printer is there. So let's get that out the way. Like that, whoopsie. Sean, you didn't see that. And the other side. Okay, this is a very, very tight fit. I don't want to force it too hard because it is scratching the galvanizing. Right, so on the sides here we're going to put our M5 by 18, which is that one. Okay, interestingly enough, I see 2 M5 by 18s here. Oh, okay. There's another set of M5 by 18.4. So these are the round-headed ones. These are your hex nut. Okay, so let's fit these on. Again, we're just going to loose fit. We're not going to go too tight. Then I need the M5 by 10s with a flat head on it so that it sits flush. So we'll put those in the top here. All in all, this is a very neat looking printer. I'm actually quite pleased by the way it looks. I hope it prints well, because it does brag. Oh, this is definitely not lined up properly. It does brag about being a high precision printer. So I'm just going to get this in a little bit tight, just a bit, 1/2 turn on a bit of strong finger. Nothing too major, just to hold it in place. And we'll do all the tightening up now once everything is aligned. There we go. It's just because it's so tight that it wasn't aligning. Now it's lined. There we go. You don't want to, if a nut or a bolt doesn't go in properly, don't force it, because you're just going to cross thread it and damage the aluminium or the screw, but more likely the aluminium because that's a softer part. So let's not over tension it. If you don't find that it's fitting, take your time, align everything, and then it should fit properly, snugly. Okay, now I'm going to start tightening up everything with the shorter end. Just give it a little bit more torque. Again, don't over torque the screws so that you strip them or damage the heads. There we go, that is done. So we're starting to take shape here, guys. We are on 12 minutes 55 from a blank install without knowing what we're doing. Right, next step. So the next step is you want to now take this and bind it to the side of the actual printer. So I'm just going to align that up. I don't want to move it so it's not awkward for you guys to see, so it'll be a little bit awkward for me. It'll probably be a little bit easier for you guys. So now let's line up. What screws are these? Now these are M4x8. So the M4x8 comes with the pack. I see pretty much they don't give you any spare screws, so don't lose any of the screws. Wrong Allen key, or as some people call them, torque wrenches. Well, actually it's not a torque wrench. A torque wrench is a different profile. So this is an Allen key. I'm just going to put one in. Right, so I must say I'm really pleased. From the other reviews that I've seen, the complaint has been that there was wobble on your thing because there were no concentric nuts. Now, if you don't know what a concentric nut is, it's a nut that you can tighten off. It's got an off-center hole through it, so that when you tighten it, it can push harder against and get rid of any rattle. So here we got a little bit of rattle, which will iron out just now. Here we got a stiff, beautiful, and on this axis as well, it's beautiful and stiff. Right, next step. So the instructions are not perfect, but they're not bad either. So I'm going to go on to the next step now. Okay, now we're going to put our... When do we put the lead screw in? That's later. Gosh, it'll be a lot easier with the lead screw in. Again, we have some struggles about which way things go. Okay. I think it uses, right, this side here, we use, okay, figured it out. Again, not all that clear, so let's do this. So the first thing is we have M5x18s. These here go through this. I want you guys to note the divots on this side of the aluminium, there's nothing on that side. That is so that the head can pass all the way through and bind, right? And then on this here is where the nut over here goes. This is very much borrowed from the Ender 3 design. The T-top nuts. Now, again, they don't really properly tell you this in the instructions. So this is going to be fiddly and tricky. So let's get this side in first. That side we can fight with now. This is going to be quite tricky to do. You can see this assembly being a bit of trial and error. Because usually with T-nuts, what you do is you put the screw on first, you push it in, and then you tighten it. But this has got a hole where the nut, the screw goes through. So you have to align everything in order to get it to bite. And then it's going to be right there. It doesn't need to be rotated in the right way because as soon as you put the screw in, it will automatically rotate into a line. There we go. Now it's upright. So you just got to make sure that the T-nut is upright so that it locks in place. There we go. You know what, guys? This is very sturdy. Actually, a lot sturdier than I thought. Those brackets at the bottom hold really tight. It's a very, very, very sturdy Z-axis. So another good plus for the printer. So far, I haven't seen all that many negatives. Now, there's a skip in the instruction. So nowhere here does it tell you to put your print head on. And so you go from the one picture here, which shows you that you tighten everything up. A little glimpse there of your T-nuts, your T-type nut, which is tiny little glimpse as a hint to what it should do. And it doesn't tell you anything about the X-axis with your print head on, but the next image shows it on. So I'm going to attempt to slide this on. So I'm just going to get the orientation right. Let's lift this all up and see if we can just go. Okay, not difficult at all. That needs a lot of tightening up. So let's gently rest that down like that. Okay, now we can get our lead screw in. So we just gently tighten that down into the base there, and then we can lift. I'm not going to tighten up the spring yet, the spring coupler. I'll tighten that up later once we've got everything aligned and in. Okay, so now we've got our lead screw in, we've got our Z-axis on, we've got our X-axis on. The next part is putting on the bed. So the bed's the first thing. It's gently. Now we need our springs. Before we put the bed on, let's put our belt tension on. That's what it says in the instructions. So let's do that first and then we'll put the bed on. All right, so to make that really loose, we're going to use 4 more of these. See, now here's a case where you can actually put it on beforehand. So we put the T-nut on like that, very loose with the indent parts over there like that. All right, and then what you do is you slide it in. It doesn't matter about the orientation too much. And as you start tightening, they flip over. And they pretty much self-align. You see that one's nicely done. Let's do the next one. And there we go. Nicely done. That's in. Our timer is sitting on 30 minutes and 41 seconds, which is not bad to put a printer together. Let's do the bed now. Again, the images and the pictures are not that great because it doesn't show anything about this plug being at the back. Logically, it should be at the back, but it should tell you that. Let's put a spring on the back one. They've got nice springs. These are very nice springs. These are high quality springs, not your cheapy springs. So usually that's one of the upgrades you do to a printer is your bed leveling springs. So it's got some nice quality bed leveling springs here. You don't want to over tighten these as well because we still need to do a bed leveling. That's it, that's on now. Last but not least, now we're going to put our belt on. Obviously it's not a spare belt, it is the belt for the X-axis. So there, the belt goes under the rollers through your tensioner. So set the tension into the least possible tension. And then, oh gosh, the belt's long, way too long, not cut to size. And then there's a little metal flap in here that this connects into. That's the one. And the other one. So try to get the belt a little bit tight on the first round of putting this in. So at least it's got a little bit of tension. Don't overdo it. Don't over tension it, but you just want to have a bit of tension on. We'll cut that later, but for now we can tension up our belt a bit. Right, it might be a bit too loose. We'll check that now once we finish with the rest of the installation. Now we get to plug in all the electronic parts. Okay, so I've made a mistake here. I've put this on the front. We'd rather have this reading to the back. So let's just unclip here. Let's take that off. Luckily it's quite easy to take off. Bring it through here, so we want it through the arch. So a little bit of a modification there. Again, that's not shown in any of the diagrams that you need to think about, so I must say the documentation hasn't been perfect. A lot of stuff you have to figure out yourself, but hopefully this video will help you with getting this right. So now I need to loosen my belt tension in again, make it nice and loose. It says to fix the belts with nylon cable ties, which are provided, but where? How? Very unclear. Very, very, very unclear. I must say it's a very nice inclusion that they put this belt tensioner in. That makes a big difference. I will cut these a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to cable tie them out the way. Let's plug in all the electronics. So this will go to our bed. These plugs are nice with a bit of a caveat, but they can wriggle loose. This here is not too bad. We'll see how this holds up over time, but we can test that on another video. So this is limit switches, X and right. Okay, so again you have to figure things out yourself. This wire says it is plug the terminal F into the filament sensor. There's no terminal F. So through a bit of deduction you can see that this goes in there, that will go in there, right? And this one here will go to your Z motor. Now we've got two limit switches here. We've got the Z limit switch and the X limit switch. Jumping ahead a second, I did notice that this has got pretty much a maker-based Gen L board already on it with two TMC 2208 drivers, and I can't remember what the other drivers are, but there's two other drivers for your Z and your thing. So this printer is going to be very quiet. That's nice to see a 32-bit processor board included with this. I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing here now. Gosh, this is quite a trick to figure out some of these stuff. So now we've got, even though they provide most of the tools, they don't provide you with a Phillips screwdriver to fit these parts. So you're going to have your own Phillips screwdriver. Right, so my Z, it goes on the X-axis, on the X gantry. Okay, so your Z and X limiters go there. So that would be nice if that had been pre-installed. And you got to be careful, these switches are very, very small. Okay, two trees. A little bit better on the switches. I'm not too impressed with that. The rest of the printer is such high quality, and I'm really impressed the way this is looking, but this here, not great. Be careful not to force anything, or just be very gentle with these switches, because if they break, you're going to have to go out to a hardware store and get some new ones. Right, that's the Z, and then we're going to put our X in. Does not specify an orientation, but if you look very closely at the drawing, you can see that this flap should face up. These limit switches should come pre-installed with a plug to plug into them from your main board. Finger tighten. Don't over tighten this because it will crack the plastic on the limit switches. So very cautious. Do not over tighten. Let's have a listen. Right, that does work. Now the concentric nut is a little bit loose. Let's get their spanner. This needs to be tightened up. So what you do is you just slowly, if you can get in there, don't over tighten it. You just want to get rid of the wobble. I'm just going to loosen this a fraction and then we'll tighten again. There's the wobble. It's a little bit of wobble. And the wobble's gone. So as soon as the wobble goes, you stop tightening. Otherwise you're going to over tighten that. Let's put our holder on. So this is our filament spool. That'll be tightened with two more of these. What have I forgotten to put on? That there are two screws left. Three screws left. Three. Odd number. So again with the T-nuts, no, wrong way around. Make sure it's the right way around, unlike I did. You just want to loosely fit the T-nut. Let's find the right Allen key. Throw the right Allen key on the floor. Pick it up again. It's up to you if you want to follow these instructions to the T and do exactly what I just did, but I wouldn't recommend throwing your Allen keys on the floor. So we tighten this up and our T-nuts swing beautifully into place. There we go, that's up. Okay, what's next is to put your Bowden tube in. Again, the instructions tell you absolutely nothing about putting your Bowden tube in. Now, when you put your Bowden tube in, make sure that you push it all the way to the bottom. I just want to check that this is flush. That must be at a perfect right angle. Then you take it and you push it all the way to the bottom. There's sort of like a bit of resistance and then it will go further. It needs to go all the way down to the head so that you've got your head coming out here. This must sit flush. If it sits above slightly like this, you get build up over here, eventually creating pressure and you'll get under extrusion. So make sure that this is tightly all the way down, right? Then we're just going to plug in there. Right, okay. It's nice that the all aluminium extruder comes fully assembled. I think we are done. The only thing I don't like is this part here. The belt here is very loose. Give me a minute to figure that out and I'll come back to you. But that The whole assembly took me 50 minutes. Okay, so 50 minutes and you'll be pretty much done. Looks like we are done. 50 minutes in, as I said. We do have some spare items here. There are 3 screws that don't seem to go anywhere. So we'll see later on if they do go somewhere. Finally, we got to put this in. This is mentioned where? F. Use the M8x8 with the T-nut assembly. Confusion abounds because I have no idea how to fit this limit switch. It looks like the screw goes in and you got to adjust the height of it based on where you want it to. Not a nice design. Come on, Two Trees, you guys have done such a great job with the rest of this printer. That is not a great design. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is just tighten up, put our plate on. I'll take that off now. Okay, I've set it so that it's just above the build plate. Don't like that part of that assembly at all, and very unclear from the instructions. The last thing I need to do is just tighten up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this through the full range, right to the top, and then we can tighten up the 2 grub screws on our flexible coupler here. And that's it, we're done. So about 55 minutes in with a couple of problems here and there. The printer is assembled. I need to cut those off. With that, the printer is assembled and we're ready to do our power on first test. So let's just take the plastic off here. Right, there we go. We powered up, booting up. It's got a very nice color LCD on the front. I'll take some photos of that. Right, tools. Let's see what we got under tools. So auto level. Should we try? Let's take off this protective sheet. I'm not too fond of the idea of sticking the glass to the plate. Well, it appears that the glass gets stuck to the aluminium. Not too much of a fan of that. You get one chance. Okay, it is stuck. So let's try this out. Let's have a look through the menu a little bit. Nothing is moving. Wonderful. Forgot to plug the Z-axis in. Right, so move. The Z is not that quiet. Move Y. Okay, there goes the Y-axis. And there goes the Z-axis. Let's try home it. As you can hear, the Z and the X and the Y axis are extremely quiet. Beautifully quiet. The Z, not so much, because that's using a standard stepper driver. Okay, we might have to adjust it a little bit lower. The touchscreen is very nice. The Z leveling is a little bit on the finicky side. Right, okay, so we've got the machine on. I'm going to do a test print and I'll come back and report back on that now. How's it, guys? So after 1 week of playing with this Two Trees printer, sadly I would not recommend buying it yet. The build quality of the machine is really good. There's a couple of build issues on the side of the printer, but other than that it's a pretty sturdy, solid printer. But there are issues with the printing. I have been struggling for a couple of days now to try and get a clean printer out of this printer, and I have not been able to get a clean printer out. Also, I had another issue this morning when I turned the printer on. Something happened to the screen, and the screen has gone all distorted. I'll include a photograph below. And it is, I believe that this machine has got potential. There's so many little things on it that I do like the belt tensioners on both the X and the Y. It comes with a 32-bit board. It comes with TMC drivers. I think all of those things are great. It has a runout detector that works, is set up, but it also says auto leveling. There's no auto leveling in this machine. It doesn't auto level. And I just cannot get a proper print out of the machine for some odd reason. So my recommendation is that you don't buy this printer yet. I've been speaking to Sean at Print or Die, and he agrees with me that there's still issues with this printer. And he agrees that we need to take it back to the drawing board. We're going to be sending it back to Two Trees, and we're waiting for answers back from them over certain issues. So as it stands now, right now, this is a very new printer on the market, but I do not recommend it. There are too many issues with this printer. There's too many headaches. So I will be bringing you some more reviews shortly. This was my honest review of this printer, and I'm very disappointed to say that I'm not happy with it. So guys, check back soon for more reviews. Thank you so much. That's it for today. Check back soon for more videos. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. This helps us understand what you would like to see. If you want to see more of our videos, consider subscribing to our channel and press the notification icon to be notified when a new video comes out. Post comments. Let us know what you want to see. Tell us if you like this video or if there's any other subject matter that you would like to see. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. We buy everything ourselves in this channel and really want to grow this channel. God bless you guys, love you guys, and see you soon. Cheers.